Hallie with Handmade by Hallie here. Welcome to my next video. For this project, we're going to need these Dollar Tree bunny forms. I believe I use 8. We're going to need some fabric of your choice, 1 for the center and 4 other colors for the sunflower petals. I'm going to use some nautical rope, also from the Dollar Tree, and wire cutters and scissors. So I decide to cut all of the ears in the pairs off, and I use one to trace onto my paper so I can have a pattern for cutting the fabric out. I also use the round and trace that onto my foam core board that I'll use later. So here I'm cutting out my ear pattern, cutting out about a 1/4 inch additional around the outside, and I pin it to my fabric, and my fabric is folded in half, so I'm cutting 2 petals at a time, and I'm going to do this twice, and I'll do this for all 4 of the colors. I won't show you all 4 of the colors with me cutting because it's all the same. Just putting that pattern down and pinning it. Then next I'm going to cut out the circle for the center, and I decide my utility knife's not quite cutting it, literally. So I decide to whip out my scissors, and that does a much better of a job. Yeah, it's a little bit harder to make a perfect circle, so some of it I get cut out as best I can and cut off some chunks as I go. Then here around the top I cut out a little bit of extra and then go around and trim it so it's as round as I can get it. And then we are ready to get our brown fabric ready for the center. And I just decide how much I want to use, make a couple slits, and tear that off, ready for the next step. So I have ironed all of the petals and the center, and we are going to work on our center now. And what I'm going to do is turn it upside down and start gluing with my finger protector so I don't burn myself. And as I'm pulling it, I'm making sure that it folds, leaving no dimples on the front side, cutting off any of the extra, as I didn't make it round. Now I'm going to take some fill from a pillow that I've got laying around, an extra pillow, and just start stuffing that to the amount that I decide I want. And I want it puffy, but I don't want it too puffy. And so I'm ready to glue this, but I am going to use some of my clothespins that I get from the Dollar Tree and use those to hold it so it holds it tight. Next, we are going to snip around the ear forms. Sorry, had to think a minute. And doing this will help it conform to that shape. So I put a bead of glue and fold those over, and the finger protector comes in handy for this. And it's kind of tricky to get in between those two, but it works out pretty well. And the other side, I'm making sure to pull everything as tight as I can get it. So you just fold it over and kind of fold that top so you make sure to cover everything. And then I fold in the bottom, and there we have one ear done. And I'm going to use the same pattern for all of these petals that I'm going to do. and I do them all the same. I'll show you this twice, and then we'll move on, and I won't show you me doing all of them. So cutting those slits makes the fabric turn. And make sure to pull that fabric tight. Okay, and there we have 2 sets of ears completed. Okay, so this part was really tricky. So what I decided to do was cut the center down to 2 rings instead of 3. And I'm using a zip tie to attach. And as you see, as I'm putting these on here, they move around quite a bit, and I will show you how to fix that. And some of the ears, I did leave some extra of the metal. I probably should have just cut that off, but I didn't. And so I get all the petals that I thought would line up perfectly, and I decided I needed to go ahead and kind of overlap these petals a little bit. So I'm taking some extra cardboard that came in the fabric and putting it underneath so none of the glue that we're about to put on seeps onto my cutting mat, because that just gets to be a pain to clean up. So I'm going to use quite a lot of glue and work with these petals to get them where I want them to be. And I'm gluing everywhere that I possibly can, holding, sometimes glue kind of the middle parts together. And there you have it. So now you can see the petals are all in place. And now I'm going to take the nautical rope that I get from the Dollar Tree and trim the outside edges of each of these petals. And I will show you how I do this for all of them. And you see I go up one side to the tip and down the other side a couple inches, and then finish it off. And then I have to cut it and make sure to secure those ends or it will start to unravel. And because I have to do that because the petals overlap. So now it looks like it goes underneath the other petal. And you see on some of these I can fold it and go around the next petal. And I decide, hey, you know what? I'm going to put some glue in between there and use one of my clips to hold that to make it pinch together a little bit better. So cutting again the rope, gluing the ends, putting the glue onto the petal, and making that roll right to the outside edge. And there I finished one package, and I'm opening my second package. I think in this project I used 2 full packages and just a little bit of the third package. And I'm liking the way that this is looking. I like the colors of fabric that I've chosen. If you're liking this project, if you wouldn't mind doing those things with liking, commenting, sharing, and most specifically subscribing. You never know what I'm going to come up with next. So we're just going to continue doing the same thing that we've been doing. And I don't know if you can tell, but I love flowers of all kinds, but especially sunflowers and the color yellow. I don't look good in yellow, but I like to decorate with yellow. Sunflowers are one of my favorites. So we're just going to keep going on, repeating all of our steps, cutting it where we need to so we can tuck it underneath. Sometimes I have to use my scissors to poke it in there all the way. And see, I'm just now opening that third package of rope, and we are almost done adding our rope. I really like the colors of fabric that I've chosen. I must have bumped my camera there. Did you see it move? Now you can see my t-shirt a little bit more. So here's the last one that we're doing. Making sure it's gonna go underneath. This one gets to be a little bit difficult, but we get it in there far enough. Take off all of our clips, and when I put the center on, I see that it's raised up quite a bit. So I'm going to do a couple things. I'm going to put a row of the rope underneath, and then I'm going to go in and put a row, and I don't think I put this on camera. I do actually go in and add another row on the petals down towards the base where it starts. I put an extra row, and I have to cut it into pieces and put that next to at the bottom to hide some of those gaps that are showing. So I decided I want to go ahead and do some pipe cleaners so we can attach this with pipe cleaners. If I was thinking about it, I would have put the pipe cleaners all the way through the foam core board, but that's okay. As long as you let this dry long enough, this should work just fine. Because we're not using it to pull a lot, we're just using to attach it. Yes, you see me rubbing the glue off the ends of my fingers there. I always get glue on my fingers. Just waiting for that to dry. Once it's all the way dry, we can put it on. And yes, sometimes it is a struggle to get it put on. So you see there, I'm showing you where I put the extra piece of rope on the bottom of each of those. And that just helps close the gap that's underneath the center. I probably could have recut a center and done a smaller one, but I kind of like the bigger center. A lot of times with sunflowers, the center is bigger and the petals are the smaller portion of the flower. So I left it with the bigger one that we had already prepared. No use in wasting materials. So we're almost done there. Got this extra piece done. So in some of those places you can see the wire, and in some of the places you can't. So there we are ready to put our center on. I can tighten those as long as the glue is dry. So I decided that I wanted to make a little kind of a rag bow with some of the strips of the fabric we used. So I pulled some off and we're going to start laying these out and just layer these however you want. I am going ahead and cutting my ends at an angle. Whether they stay this length or not, I don't know. We'll find out once we get it on our project. So I'm making sure that I'm using all the colors that I have. And here I'm doing a couple of pieces that are smaller, bigger ones on the bottom, smaller ones on the top. And then I'm just going to use some of these extra pieces that I've got to put for tails. I don't have extra pieces of all of them, but enough of them. And then I'm going to use one of the green ones to tie it and make a little bow. And we'll kind of shake this up and then find our spot. And we'll go ahead and glue it in the spot. And then I'll go around and move my pieces where I want them to, cut off some straggly pieces of string, and cut my tails just a little bit. And I think that I really like the way this one came out. It's nice and bright, and this kind of a wreath could be on your door for the rest of the spring and almost through the summer. You know, you could replace it with 4th of July and then put this right back up, because this could go right into fall. So here you go. Thank you for joining me. Here is the finished product. Please make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.